Jerri, your first question. The chairperson position is riddled with many broad, non-specific, yet crucially important responsibilities according to the Constitution. With these written responsibilities and the organization mission in mind, in detail, how do you plan on interpreting them, executing them, and even expanding on them?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yeah, that's long. From the top. The chairperson position is riddled with many broad, non-specific, yet crucially important responsibilities according to the Constitution. With these written responsibilities and the organization mission in mind, in detail, how do you plan on interpreting, executing, and even expanding on these responsibilities?
As something I feel like we have established this year before is that your position is really what you make of it, and I feel like especially being or serving as a PO liaison this year, I definitely got to experience that because that is just one example of a position on board that we have that is always changing. I mean, at the beginning of the year, when I was elected, it was called APIC liaison, but now it's referred to as a PO liaison, so there's always that sort of idea, I guess, where the position's really just open to being whatever you want it to be. Sorry, could you repeat the question one more time?
No problem. With the written responsibilities as well as the organization's mission in mind, in detail, how do you plan on interpreting, executing, and even expanding on the constitutional duties of the chairperson?
So as I mentioned in my speech as chairperson, I really do want to serve or want to help contribute to that welcoming environment that people see here in San Juan, and just also support not just our e-board members but our GBMers and our greater APITA community as well. And I feel like that's definitely one way I would want to expand on the position because I feel like both chair and vice chair have been focused on, or just from my point of view, have been focused on supporting our executive board. But I feel like as being a PETA liaison, I've learned the importance of also supporting our greater communities as well. So that's one way that I would definitely want to expand on our position. Another thing that I would continue doing as chairperson that has been done in the past is just ensuring that we have clear communication within our organization, just because I really do believe that communication is like the number or a really big factor that contributes to how things run in both relationships and also in an organizational sense. And also, as I mentioned in my speech, with this position, I want to further it by collaborating not just with our e-board members, but with our general body members as well, just to get their thoughts and opinions and their contributions on events, just so we are able to push our organization forward together.
For our next question. This organization has a long and rich 50-year-long history, with each executive board finding its own definition of Samoan. With an ever-changing community coming in and out of our doors, it can be difficult to understand the wants and needs of our community. What do you believe this organization and our larger Filipino-American community is missing and needs right now, and how do you plan on providing?
Sorry, can you repeat the question, please?
What do you believe this organization, as well as our larger Filipino-American community, is missing and needs right now, and how do you plan on providing?
So I feel like if you know me just as a person, you know that I love more than anything to give my love and support to people as much as possible. I feel like it's definitely a reason why I love to connect with other people. And I don't necessarily think that that love and support is missing, but I would have definitely like to see that more, like have more of a presence going, or yeah, going into next year, if elected as chairperson, I feel like, again, like as I said, I feel like that love and support can continue to our greater communities as well, both in APITA and like with FCC, because I feel like you can never have just enough of that love and support, especially during times when we need it.
For my last question, the chairperson wears many hats within the organization, including being one of the main representatives of the org in internal and external events, the go-to for questions, comments, and complaints, organizational mediator, and one of the first lines of communication within the SDSU community and beyond. Without even mentioning the many other surprises a chairperson may find themselves and the whole org in, a high degree of stress is common amongst our chair people. Using your own personal experiences as an example, how do you plan on managing the high stress and many responsibilities that come with the position while maintaining the calm composure that is expected out of the position?
I feel like, personally, when I get stressed out, a big thing I like to do is communicate that with the people around me, especially to those who my presence affects. So, for example, being on e-board or being FACN co-choir director, during March I unfortunately was going through just a really rough time mentally, and I communicated that with my co and also with the rest of choir and apologized for not being able to uphold my responsibilities or just uphold those expectations and those deadlines that I set for myself as FACN co-choir director. And I feel like just communicating that and just relying on other people if needed for support is definitely something that I try to do to help relieve the stress and maintain as calm as possible.
Hi, Jerri. I have some audience questions for you. In terms of serving the greater Philippine X and Playground community outside of SDSU, what course of actions do you intend to take in order to expand views online?
First and foremost, I think that one of the most important things to do as an organization is to get connected to the greater community or other organizations that we are already connected to, such as with FCC. Not just building relationships with them as an organization, but just also on a personal level. I know I personally like to volunteer for other schools' HSCs just because I gained so much from them when I was a senior in high school, so I always like to give back when I can. So I feel like in that sense, in order to extend our influence, again, as I mentioned in my speech, one thing I would like to do is encourage others to do the same of, just showing up and showing out for the other organizations and greater communities that we are involved with here in San Diego. Sorry, can you repeat the question?
In terms of serving the greater Philippine X and Playground community outside of SDSU, what course of action do you intend to take in order to expand AB's online influence?
Yes, okay, so going beyond our San Diego community, I know that as an org, something we do, or I guess that the political affairs coordinator chairs is town hall. I feel like participating in events like those and just also using our connections to help gain support for very important topics such as being informed and taking action on the PHRA are definitely some things that we can do as chairperson or just as an organization to extend our influence, because I feel like these topics are just very important for us to be aware of and take action on, just because I know that we are such a big org, not just here in San Diego, but here at SDSU. And yeah, I just know that it's so important for us to use our voices and use the fact that we are such a big organization to help out those that may not have that same source of numbers or that same source of support or help.
As you know, Saha has many events over the course of the academic year, with many of these events being planned and worked on at the same time as others. This in turn has stretched our e-board team in some cases. As chairperson, how can you provide support for your e-board members?
As, not just as chairperson, but I feel like as being the person I am in general, a big thing that I like to do to show people that I am here to support them is to reach out to them directly, personally check up on them, because as Alexi mentioned earlier, sometimes temp checks aren't able to do that for us. And not only just reach out to ask how they are, but reach out to also ask them if they need help with anything. I know that before I took on the treasurer position, that's a big thing that I did as a peer liaison, just because I felt like I didn't have that many duties or responsibilities. So, for example, like when Cam, our funding coordinator, was first introducing or planning out our e-board days, I would ask her if she needed any help, because I know that was a big thing that we're trying to do and are still trying to do. Y'all can still donate to e-board days if you want. Yeah, just not being afraid to reach out to people and ask them how they are, and if they need any help is, I feel, definitely a big way for me to show my support.